This
purchasing
conference will now
organization
be
level.
recorded.
So we were discussing regarding the general data level as a part of general data, the
This
tax related
conference will now be
information,
recorded.
as well as the banking and the contact person details. So we were able to maintain those things during the previous session. In today's session, let us see the company code information. So I will go to the XK01 transaction code. Let me go to the XK01 and we will try to maintain the relevant details of the vendor. So I will go to the MM0. I will open the file. So we were able to maintain the general data information. Now we are in the company code level information. What is the company code level information? The company code level information. Let me go to the system. Okay, so we said we are going to maintain the vendor master data at the company code level, right? So what is the company code level information? So the company code level information is nothing but the reconciliation account. In case of vendor master data, material master data, we said in the accounting data tab, we have to maintain the valuation class. What is the use of the valuation class? Okay, can you hear me now? Hello? Okay. So reconciliation account is one of the general ledger account. You can hear me, right? So GL account will be created by the finance people. So they normally in the real-time projects, GL account will be created by finance, and you will ask them, I'm trying to create a vendor master data. Could you please provide the relevant GL account so that I will maintain and go ahead and proceed for the creation of the vendor master data. But here we don't have the finance consultant, so we need to do it on our own. Okay, so I will let you know how to create a GL account, but it is a finance related master data. Okay, let me now try to get into the SAP system. I will go to the logistics and the materials management, purchasing, then master data, then vendor. So I will go to the vendor, I will go to the central, and XK01 is the transaction code which I will be used to create a vendor master data. And what is the company code? So the company code I will put it as IN47, and the purchase organization IN47, and the vendor account group I am going to select it is DM05. So I will just click on enter button. So when I click on, I will be able to see the general data. So I will quickly maintain the general data like address. Okay, so let me maintain the address quickly. Then we will be getting into the, this is the tax information where we have maintained. This is the bank details, and these are the details at which we were able to maintain the contact person details. Now we are in the accounting data tab. So this is nothing but a company code level information. So in the company code level information, what is mandatory? Reconciliation account is one of the mandatory thing. So reconciliation account is nothing but one of the general ledger account. which will be used to create a vendor master data. So here we have so many general ledger accounts, but if you don't have the general ledger account, so you need to create on your own. Where you will create? So let me open one more screen. I will go to the, so here general ledger account or the recon account will be created by the finance team. So where I will create, I will go to the accounting and go to the financial accounting and general ledger master records, ZL accounts, individual processing. FS00 is the transaction code to create a vendor reconciliation account. So I will just double click on FS00 and I want to create a reconciliation account for the plant company code IN47. So I will give, let me see, I will try to create 1,60,003. So I will try to create a 1,60,003. So I will specify over here 1,60,003 is the reconciliation account. 60,003, right? I will click on enter button. So I will go to the create. I will go to the creation mode. So I need to select the relevant general ledger account type. So what is the general ledger account type? That is GL. GL is nothing but a general ledger account type. And I need to select this particular account type as a balance sheet account. Then I will give some text number or text over here, recon account vendor. Here also I can specify recon account vendor. Okay, so I will just go to the control data. So the currency at which my company is operating is INR, right? So then I will select the tax category over here. I will select the relevant tax category as all tax types allowed. Just select all tax types allowed. Then reconciliation account type, you just need to select it over here as vendors. Okay, now let's get into the create /bank/interest. So here I just need to select the relevant account field status group. So I will select the field status group as general, right? I will select the field status group as general over here. Okay, so then let me try to save it. Account group, make an entry in field account group number. Okay, so let me go to the, where is the account group number? I think this is the one. Just select any one of the thing. Let me see if it works or not. So I just save it. Okay, so let me try to maintain the separate account group number. So with this we were able to create a general ledger that is 1,60,003. Somebody messaged it. What about others? Are you able to get the voice clearly? Hello?
Up and down is coming, sir.
Pardon me?
Voice up and down.
Voice up and down. What is the problem? ఫ్యాన్ ప్రాబ్లమా? ఒకసారి ఫ్యాన్ చూడండి. ఒక ఫ్యాన్ వేయండి చాలు. అదే వేయండి. ఇది కట్టేసేయండి. What about now?
Now clear,
Hello?
sir. Now clear.
Okay, so this is how you need to create a vendor general ledger account number, that is 1,06,000. అవన్నీ ఫైనాన్స్ టెర్మినాలజీస్. ఓకే, దిస్ ఈస్ ఫైనాన్స్ థింగ్, డోంట్ వరీ అబౌట్ దీస్ థింగ్స్. ఓకే, finance consultant will create and give it to you. So you just need to ask him, what is the general ledger account I need to use it. He will give you, please use this, that's it. Okay, so just go to the reconciliation account and see, this is the reconciliation account which I just created, right? I will just double click it over here and select. Okay, so then the sort key I will select something over here. So posting date, sort key is nothing but, let us say the vendor supplied the material today, and what is the basis on which, let us say there is one material, petrol. So vendor is supplying the petrol to you. Petrol prices will be dynamically changing. Today it will have one price, tomorrow it will have one price, day after tomorrow it will have one price. But for the material what he supplied as on today, what is the price you are going to consider? Are you going to consider the price that the vendor delivered the material on which date, or the date on which you received the material? He delivered the material today, he supplied the material to yesterday. On that day the price was 100 rupees, but you receive it today. There is one day gap in between. Today it is 95 rupees. So what is the date on which the price you are going to consider? Are you going to make the payment the date on which he delivered the material to you, or the date on which you received the material to your company? So so you just need to have the understanding between the vendor or agreement. Accordingly you can do the payment processing, whether you can do the payment processing on yesterday's date or today's date. So that is nothing but a sort key. What is the date on which you are going to make the payment, or the parameters? Let us say posting date is nothing but the date on which I did the goods receipt. On that day what is the price, so I will do the payment. So which is nothing but a sort key. Head office, you already know what is the head office address of this particular vendor for the company code related transactions or the activities. You just need to select some head office address for this particular vendor. Okay, so let me now, somehow it's very slow today. So the country is India, I can specify. So I will select any one of the address that is being used for the finance related transactions against this particular vendor. Subsidiary indicator. Subsidy indicator is nothing but whether it is a minority vendor or a very big vendor. Let us say there are some vendors who will get subsidies. Subsidy means, let us say I am the new vendor. I said I started a company newly, right? So the government will some subsidies, they will encourage. So if you are a company which is getting some subsidies in terms of tax relaxation or something else, you just need to select the subsidy indicator over here. I think you can give anything over here. Minority company, let us say if I put minority, okay, it is accepting. The cash management group, whether it is a domestic vendor or import vendor, you just need to bifurcate what and all the cash related activities. If I am buying a material from the domestic vendor, I can group under a domestic vendor, or foreign vendor, I will select under a foreign vendor. So you just need to select the relevant cash management group. And authorization object. Authorization object is nothing but you can give anything over here. What is authorization object? Can anyone tell? This we discussed in the material master creation as well. Can anyone tell what is authorization object? So authorization object is nothing but one of the parameter which will be used to control the access of this particular vendor. So I can give a authorization object over here as something based upon which my security team will write some logic or coding, so that I can restrict the access of this particular vendor master data to the relevant group of people. It is like nothing. Let us say I want a vendor master data will be normally used by the finance team or procurement team. It is not relevant for the production people, right? They don't bother about who is vendor, what is vendor. So I want to restrict the access of the vendor master to the production people. So how I will restrict? I will restrict based upon the authorization object which I selected over here. Okay, so release group. Let me select something over here as a release group over here. A release group is nothing but a release strategy functionality that will be coming into the picture. So we will discuss the release strategy in case of the purchase requisitions and the purchase orders. So we will discuss that particular thing, release group and release code related activities during the purchase order or the purchase requisition creation. Minority indicator. So is he a small size vendor or somebody? So you just need to select the indicator for the minority indicator. And what is the certification date on which this particular vendor was declared as a minority vendor by the government authorities, let us say on this date. Okay, CIU code, you just select something over here, anything. Then interest calculation. So let us say this vendor is supplied some material to you and you did not pay the amount as per the agreed terms. Let us say as per the agreement with the vendor, he is going to give a credit of 30 days or 60 days. If you cross the 30 days or 60 days also, he will charge you interest. Okay, so what is the interest? There are various types of methods you want to calculate the interest, right? So you just need to select one of the method for calculating the interest against this particular vendor. So I can select a interest type that is balance interest. I am not sure what is balance interest, but you can calculate the interest in many ways. So what is the last key date? Key date is nothing but what is the date on which you are trying to impose the interest against this particular vendor. Let us say I am trying to impose the interest on from 31/12/2021 onwards. This particular vendor is relevant for the interest calculations. So what is the last interest run date? So you run the interest on, let us say 31/03/2022. Interest cycle is monthly basis interest or 3 months once or 6 months. So normally a monthly basis interest only will be there, right? In any of the organization, the interest will be a monthly basis only. So if you are creating a vendor master data for employee as a vendor, then you just need to create what is the personal number. Personal number is nothing but employees also will be created as a vendor and they also will be created as a in the HRMS module, they will be created as a per number. Every employee will be created as a per number or personal number. So, but that is the HRMS module master data. So what is the personal number for this particular employee? You just need to select something. Head office does not exist. Not all things are mandatory. Okay, if you are able to understand the whatever may be the mandatory fields like reconciliation account, etc., that will be good. It is not like that you need to understand everything. So per number I will select. So let us say there is one person per that particular person. The per number that is created in the human resource management module, I will be selecting over here. See, this is the personal number, right? So there is one person known as Charles. I am creating a vendor master data for this employee. So I just need to select the per number which is being created in the human resource management module. Okay, so I will go to the, so this is the previous account number. It is nothing but a, this is the SAP related per number, but what is the legacy system or the old system that the company is using, what is the per number or the employee number? If it is same, just mention it over here. Tax data for tax reports. So you just need to select the tax related information and the distribution type over here. So now let me go to the next button. So here this is the place where again it is a company code related information only, but this is related to the company code payment transactions, right? So at the company code level, what are the payment terms against this particular vendor? If you are processing against this vendor a invoice, so invoice is nothing but a company code or the finance transaction, right? So what is the payment terms that you are going to select against this vendor? The payment terms are 0002. Okay, so the tolerance group, just select the tolerance group over here as a DEB1. Tolerance groups you need to create in the backend configuration and select it over here. So tolerance group is nothing but you order 1000 materials, vendor can deliver 950. If you order 1000, he can deliver 1100. It is not like that you order 1000, he needs to send only 1000, right? So that is nothing but a tolerance groups. Over delivery tolerance and under delivery tolerance. So those are the tolerance you just need to select. If you are creating a credit memo against this vendor, what are the payment terms? There are various types of invoices, right? You have a normal invoice, you have a credit memo, or you have a debit memo, and you have a subsequent debit and subsequent credit. So if you are raising a invoice, these are the payment terms, and if you are raising a credit memo, for the credit memo, these are the payment terms. Double invoice check. What is double invoice check? Double invoice check is nothing but a, let us say I processed one invoice today with the invoice number 1000. Same invoice, let us say somebody by mistake is trying to process. My system should not allow him to process. If my system is allowed him to process the one more invoice, it will be a duplicate payment. So I am making the double payment. So there should be a control. The system should be able to restrict the user for not to process the double invoice. Checking caching time, you just put some 24 hours means or 20 days. Caching time is nothing but the vendor delivered the material and how many days it will take to make the payment to that particular vendor, so that whatever may be the delivery is needed, you are going to convert that him into a caching time. Caching time is nothing but the gap between the supplied date of the material and the date on which you are going to make the payment to the vendor. Payment terms? From invoice date to payment date, we are selecting payment terms. Again, caching time. Caching time is the time. How many days the vendor will be able to make the cash. Let us say he supplied today. You are making the payment after 30 days. So 30 days is the caching time for him. So payment terms are nothing but the terms which you agreed with the vendor to be able to make the payment to him. Are you going to make the payment within 30 days or 60 days or 45 days? That is nothing but a payment term. Also, if you are making the payment within 30 days, he will give some discount. If you are making the payment within 60 days, he will not give any discount. If you are able to make the payment within 15 days, he will give 5% or 10%. Those are nothing but the terms which you agreed with the vendor. See here. If you make the payment within 14 days, he will give 3% cash discount. If you are able to make within 30 days, he will give 2%, like that. So these are the some of the examples of the payment terms. You just need to select the relevant payment term over here. Payment methods. How you are going to make the payment? Are you going to make the payment via check or NEFT or RTGS, you just need to select. But here there is no payment terms created, so I am not able to select anything over here. Payment block. You processed the invoice. If the payment block is blank over here, that means the whatever may be the invoice you process, it will be picked by the payment program, and based upon the terms you agreed with the vendor, the payment will be processed automatically. But if you want to restrict the invoice payment, you will put payment block over here. Blocked for payment. That means you process the invoice, but still the payment will not be done. When the payment will be done, you need to remove the payment block. Then only the invoice will be relevant for the payment processing. So that is nothing but a payment processing. Most of the companies, they will go for the payment block. Why they will keep the payment block and they will verify whether the invoice is properly done or not, then they will release the payment. Alternative pay, you already know it. What is alternative pay? Can anyone tell what is alternative pay? Hello?
Other company account, they can pay this purchase order.
Alternative pay is nothing but, let us say this is the vendor, right? LG Electronics Private
Same
Limited. There is,
vendor having some issue, then payment to the, just we can say the nominee, like
yeah. It is like your LIC policy, right? You have selected LIC policy, but you will put someone else as a nominee. Why you are putting? Because if something happened to the person who created, who has taken the LIC policy, the benefits of that particular policy will be given to the nominee. In the same way, alternative pay concept also, if something happened to this LG Electronics, who is the other vendor or the relation, this the other vendor who will be able to get the benefits of this LG company as a vendor. So that is nothing but a alternative pay. So LG company will say to me, if something happened to my company premises, you make or you settle all the amounts to one of the other company that is being suggested by him. So I will select any one of the, let us say, ABC trading company.
Sir, is it a sister concern company, sir?
It's all depends upon you what company you want to put. You need to suggest as a vendor to me, so the same thing I will input over here. Yeah. Okay, so house bank is nothing but every vendor will have a international related banks. So let us say vendor is located in India, he will have Indian account one bank, and if he is having a account in the foreign country, so you just need to select the bank account that is belongs to the vendor in the foreign country as a house bank account. Individual payment, how you are going to make the payment? Are you going to make the payment individually, invoice by invoice, or you are going to group multiple invoices and make the payment in one go? So you just need to select the relevant grouping and make the payment to the vendor according to the invoices what he created. What is the exchange limit? So if you are making a payment, if you are doing the transactions against this vendor, what is the maximum limit per one invoice I can take? I can take 1 lakh rupees a procurement or 10 lakhs. Payment advice by EDI. So EDI is nothing but electronic data interchange or interface. Okay, so let us say I have one bank account, so I wanted to give the advice to the bank to make the payment to this particular vendor. So I can give a electronic data interchange communication to the bank, so that based upon the communication given by me, so the bank can release the payment to this particular vendor electronically. Electronically means I am giving a communication to the bank. I am not going to give any manual thing or phone call. So I will release the advice to the bank by electronically, so they will release the payment accordingly. Tolerance group, you just need to select the tolerance group. And prepayment, nothing but advance payment, right? Means some vendors, they will have ask for the advance payment. Okay, so let us say I am requesting some material from the vendor for 1 lakh rupees. They will say, boss, you need to make 50,000 first advance. Once I delivered the material, you made the payment 50% again. So that is nothing but a prepayment or the advance payment. So just click on enter. So here we are in the correspondence data. So this is also one of the company code related information where I am trying to maintain. So my finance, let us say I am the company. In my company, I have a procurement department. I also have the finance department. The vendor also will have the procurement department or finance department, right? So as a company, my purchasing department will deal with the vendors, sales department regarding the materials. But when it comes to the vendor payments, etc., my company's finance department will deal with the finance department of the vendor. So if your finance department deal with the finance department of the vendor for any reason to make the payments or to get the certificate tax related certificates, etc., so they will contact with the finance team of the vendor. So in such cases, sometimes you can send the reminders to the finance department of the vendor. Any reminder regarding, let us say he is not providing any some original invoice, so that we will not be able to get the benefits of the tax. So you can discuss with him, you please send this invoice, etc. But these are related to the finance. So whatever may be the finance related follow-ups you wanted to, you can do the follow-ups by the system automatically by known as one of the procedure known as a Dunning procedure. So but this require entire configuration. So we haven't maintained any Dunning procedure related configuration, so I am not selecting anything over here. Okay, but if you do the Dunning procedure or the follow-up mechanism implemented in SAP system, so you can select the relevant Dunning procedure over here and do the follow-ups. So you can have the various levels of the Dunning, right? So 4-level Dunning or 3-level Dunning or 2-level Dunning. So you can select the relevant Dunning. Let me show it to you. So if I select a 4-level Dunning every 2 weeks, that means every 2 weeks I will be sending one reminder. Like I will send 4 reminders, nothing but a 4-level Dunning procedure. So we haven't created any Dunning procedure settings. That is the reason it is not allowing. I think where we will maintain. Let me see the Dunning procedure configuration. I also never delete the Dunning procedure related configurations. We will see where it is Dunning process. Dunning process configuration. Dunning procedure, it is FBMP. This is not the correct transaction code. FBMP. So 4-level dunning every 2 weeks. Okay, so here you need to maintain the information related to the. Okay, so this is the place where you can create a dunning procedure. Okay, so you need to create the relevant dunning procedure and maintain it further your company or the manufacturing plant. Okay, but it is simply a levels that you are going to maintain it over here. So what is the dunning levels? Means every 14 days I will be sending one reminders. So number of reminders I will be sending as 4. Okay, like that you need to create a dunning procedure over here, and this particular dunning procedure you can use it to send the reminders to the vendor against the queries you have. Okay, but not only this thing, we need to do so many other settings as well for the dunning process to be executed. So you maintain only simply via this particular transaction code, it will not work. You need to execute or you need to configure some custom transactions. So based upon which you can do the dunning procedure creation. Okay, so you have something known as where it is there procedure access the SPRO IMG menu accounts receivables. Okay, so here we have the configuration, it seems. SPRO, but this is one of the SPRO account receivables and account payables, vendor accounts. Can you see over here something known as dunning? Dunning is not there. Line items, it's not there. See what he is saying. Account payables, business transactions. Do we have some? Yeah, do we have business transactions? Yeah, dunning. So here you need to do the settings. So you need to define the dunning area. So you need to set the dunning area at the company code level. So we don't have any dunning area for the company code levels. So I will select and maintain for the, I will copy and I can maintain the company code IN47. Okay, so I just created a dunning. Dunning notices are not yet defined for the company code. Okay. So this is the place where you can do the dunning procedure. So then again you need to define the dunning keys. So dunning keys, we can use the SAP standard dunning keys only. No need to create extra. So define dunning blocking reasons. So this is not required. You created the dunning procedure. You want to block, so you can use these things. Now go to the dunning procedure. So define dunning procedures like that. You need to do the configuration in this particular area. Okay, so by using that particular configuration, you can select the relevant dunning procedure over here. Okay, so now let me go to the. So here correspondence is nothing but if you wanted your finance department wanted to have the communication between the vendor finance department, how you are going to have it. So let us say you wanted to have the communication to get the account statement. So weekly account statement or the monthly account statement. Sometimes vendor also will request your company finance department. You also request him sometimes. So you just need to have the who is the person at which you are going to have the contact. So who is the accounting clerk, right? What is the clerk name at the vendor's location with whom you are in contact? Let us say Mr. Ram. What is his telephone number? What is the fax number? What is his internet ID? What is the account memo? Account memo is nothing but a statement that you are going to ask. Let us say I am going to ask a account statement on weekly basis or monthly basis. So I just need to specify it over here. Then we are in the withholding tax information. So if a vendor is relevant for the tax related activities, there is one thing known as the withholding tax. So you just need to maintain the withholding tax details of this particular vendor. So the withholding tax country is India for this vendor. And what is the withholding tax type? So you just need to select the withholding tax type as TDS on salaries. Withholding tax is nothing but a TDS related things. So you vendor supplied the material, you will sometimes before making the payment you will cut the TDS. So that is nothing but what is the TDS type or the withholding tax type? TDS is one of the withholding tax type, like your employee, right? So before the salary payment to you, they will cut the tax and give it to you. So it is one of the withholding tax type. So they are holding the amount. So what is the withholding tax code? You just need to select the tax code as TDS on salaries. And what is this? So yeah, it is a company only, means recipient type is nothing but a company. So when you are deducting the withholding tax, how you are going to deduct that withholding tax? So you are considering me as a company, and based upon the terms and conditions of the company TDS, you are going to apportionate the taxes. If I am the employee, so you are going to take me as the employee and do the withholding tax deductions. Withholding tax ID is something you put, it is a free text only. Exemption number means I am liable for the withholding tax exemptions based upon some provisions provided by the companies or the country within my company, within my India. So you just need to select the exemption number. Not every vendor is relevant for the TDS, right? Let us say in employees also, if your salary is below 2 lakhs, so there is no TDS, right? So you are exempted. How you are exempted? What is the basis? Because your salary is very low, so that is the reason you are exempted. So why you are exempted? Because of the notice that is given by the government, right? So what is that notice? Is nothing but a exemption number based upon which I will be getting the exemption. Okay, exemption percentage, let us say something you can put. Exemption reason. Why? Because your salary is low, right? So you can select that, yeah, income tax department or somebody. So exemption from what is the date from which you are getting the exemption? I am getting the exemption from this date. So these are nothing but the details that are belongs to the tax deduction at source or some of the withholding tax types. So you just need to select the relevant withholding tax related activities over here. Okay, now I will go back. So with this, we were able to discuss enter a valid date interval in the exemption. Exemption. I will select the exemption reason over here. Exemption percentage. Enter a valid date interval. Oh, I think I need to exemption from and to date also I need to enter. Let us say this vendor is exempted from the tax related things from this particular year. In between this year, the vendor is exempted for the TDS. Okay, so now we are in the purchasing organization data. In the purchasing organization data, what is the order currency? You are going to do the transactions against this particular vendor. So this is the purchasing data. We were able to complete company code data. Now we are in the purchasing data. In the purchasing data, you need to specify the relevant currency which you are going to consider against this vendor. So I am going to consider as INR. Terms of payment at the procurement level. So the previous terms of payments are at the company code level, but these terms of payments are at the purchasing level. What are the info terms? So I will select the info term as a free on board over here, and the info term text or the description is free on board. What is info term? Can anyone tell? Yeah, Incoterms. Can anyone tell what is Incoterms?
Shipping related.
Incoterms are nothing but internationally commonly agreed terms and payment. Incoterm is nothing but internationally common agreed terms and contracts or the payments. Terms and conditions in terms of procurement or the sales activities. If you are doing a procurement against a vendor, or some customer is purchasing a material from you as a customer, so you need to have some agreement in terms of some of the transportation related things, some of the tax related things. So that particular agreements will be called as Incoterms. There are various types of Incoterms. If I select free on board over here for this particular vendor, what is that meaning? I created one purchase order. Within the purchase order, I selected Incoterm as a free on board. What is the meaning of that? Yeah. Yeah. So the meaning of that is, meaning of this is, if I select free on board, that means vendor will only manufacture the material in his company premises and he will keep it ready, but he will not responsible for delivering the material to my company premises. Yeah. So as a vendor, I will, as a company or the person who requested the material, I need to arrange my own transportation, pick the material from the vendor location and bring it to my company premises. Nothing but a free on board. X works. Then what is free on board? Free on board means vendor will hand over up to the concerned mixer or up to ship will hand over. Then what is alongside ship? That is alongside ship, right? Alongside ship. There are various terms, but don't worry. Okay, these are not our topic, but you just need to say, I am trying to give you some example, that's it. Free alongside, what you are saying is free alongside. So vendor will keep the materials near the ship and you need to load the material into the ship and bring it to your company purpose. So that is nothing but a free alongside. If you select a DDP, that is nothing but a delivered duty paid. You need not to worry about the delivery of the material. He will manufacture, he will load the material into the truck, he will deliver the material into your company premises. He will also make the payment of the some of the taxes that are belongs to in between. Road tax, so many things will be there, right? All those things he will be taking care. Then what is the minimum order value? If you are ordering a material against this vendor, what is the minimum amount you need to order? You need to order 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs or 50 lakhs. Schema group of the vendor means if this vendor belongs to the domestic vendor, so I need to select the pricing as a domestic vendor pricing. If the vendor is the import vendor, I need to select the pricing relevant for this particular vendor as a import. So let us say this vendor is a domestic vendor. I will select the vendor as a domestic vendor schema group. What is vendor schema group? We will see when we are discussing the price determination process. Okay, so the relevant schema group we need to select. Schema group is nothing but how you are going to do the calculations of the price against this particular vendor. If the vendor is a domestic vendor, you will have one type of calculation. If the vendor is an import vendor, then you will have one type of calculation. Then price control indicator. So this is what we discussed. What is the basis on which you are going to take the or process the invoice against this particular vendor? So I am going to process the invoice for the purchase order date or the goods receipt date. Like petrol, right? So we discussed it in some 20 minutes back. So what is the basis you are going to take to process the payment for this particular vendor? So you are going to take the basis as a goods receipt date, the date on which the materials are received into your company. On that date, what is the price? So you are going to make the payment accordingly. So order optimization rest. So I think this is not that much important. You just select something over here. Then salesperson at the vendor's location with whom your procurement department is in touch with him. What is his telephone number? And what is the account? Let us say you created vendor as a vendor account number in your system. He will also create you as a customer, right? So what is the customer number that is being created in the system of the vendor? You just need to specify it over here. Then goods receipt based invoice verification. So you just need to select the goods receipt based invoice verification. That means you need to process the goods receipt, then do the invoice verification. That is known as a three-way matching. Purchase order, goods receipt, then invoice. So if you want to make the payment, you need to have the purchase order first, then goods receipt, then invoice verification. So if the vendor is relevant for the invoice verification based upon the goods receipt, you just need to activate the GR based invoice verification. Okay, so remaining things we will discuss on tomorrow's class. So tomorrow it will take 10-15 minutes so that we will be able to complete the vendor master data. Then we will go ahead and do the service master data. So the remaining master data will not take that much of time. So I will just save it. Okay, so we can talk tomorrow. So regarding the further steps. Okay, thank you for
Okay,
time.
sir.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.